This video is sponsored by TrakMotive. 4 great lines, 1 great company. Visit TrakMotive.com for more information.
Hi, I'm Brendan Baker with Motorcycle and Powersports News, and today we're at State 8 in Medina, Ohio. They're a Polaris dealer, and we're going to be putting on a replacement axle on this Polaris Sportsman, and with the help of our trusty technician, Wagner, who's been with State 8 for what, about 7 years, and on and off as a technician. And you've done a few axles over the years, right?
I've done my fair share.
You've broken a few too?
Broken quite a few.
Yeah. Yeah, the axles are a common replacement because they do go through a lot of stress and strain, depending on how you ride the vehicles, what kind of usage they get. So that is, it's a common repair. With aftermarket axles, such as this one from TrakMotive, they're beefed up a little bit. Even the OE stock replacement is a new replacement, but it's about 20% stronger than the OE axle. So we're going to go into this Sportsman. What year is this one?
This would be a 2020 Sportsman 1000.
Sportsman 1000 XP. So we're going to go in and take a look at how to do the install. One of the issues with, especially with UTVs, but even on ATVs, is when they go with bigger wheels and lift kits and things, you put a lot more strain on the axle. Some of the more aggressive tires can also be hard on the axles, and this being a 1000 four-wheel drive, that can be pretty stressful on the axles. So some of your customers may, depending on how they ride and what they use it for, you may want to go up from an OE level axle to a heavy-duty axle, which uses a little bit more premium quality axle material. It's a chrome moly steel, and it's about 35% stronger, and it also has a little bit more, you can have a little bit more of an angle, an actuation angle of the CV joint, so you can accommodate some of those lifts, the high lift packages. What are some of the symptoms that you see with axles and how they fail?
A lot of the time, the boots will rip, and then nobody catches it, and all the grease runs out, and then it just gets all the corrosion inside there, and it'll start clicking and popping, or they just completely break.
They snap at the axle itself, or they snap off
most
of
of the times, there's balls and cages in here.
Yeah.
And most of the time, they just explode the cage in them.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, with some of the axles, one of the things you can do with the OE level, these being a little bit stronger than stock, and they don't really cost more either. So you know, that's kind of a benefit to your customer. Again, the heavy duty one will be for customers that are a little more aggressive riders and have more power, more bigger tires and lift kits. So what are kind of the common complaints that you hear with customers that bring a ATV in for, they don't maybe know it's an axle? Do they know all the time what it is? Is there a certain telltale sign?
A lot of the times they'll complain about a noise when they turn.
Okay.
And they're turning and it's just a clicking and popping in the axle, and it's just making noise, and just look at it.
So, and if they don't replace that, it's going to break completely.
Yeah, it'll eventually break.
It'll
Eventually go to failure.
And it could cause damage to other components like, you know, your differential or transfer case. And
I've seen them break where they take out the entire hub.
Oh, wow.
The whole assembly.
Yeah. So yeah, if you want to make sure that you're catching it early enough on before you have any more catastrophic damage. If you notice any of these signs or symptoms, it's time to replace your axle. And aftermarket manufacturers such as TrakMotive offer these OE level new replacement axles as well as heavy duty axles. We're going to go ahead and start installing this TrakMotive axle. You ready to go, Corey?
Let's get her out.
Yep.
Well, we're going to start by taking the cotter pin off the axle so we can get the nut off. And this will get replaced, so this can go in the trash.
And the nut is, the axle will have a new nut on it as well.
I tend to just leave them on there because there's washers on the backside. That way you don't lose them when you rip it off. We're going to pull the brake caliper off. Now we're going to take the nut, back it all the way off. Make sure we don't lose the washers.
Okay, yeah. That way you keep the washer on with it when you're pulling it off.
And the factory ones, they're beveled.
Right, okay. So
and you want to have them, and you want to keep them
bevel
together.
Side out.
Yep.
Yeah.
The high side goes out towards the nut. Now we're going to take off the top control arm bolt. And for this particular unit, you can do that.
And then you got easy access to there.
Right to it.
Now, do you ever have to use anything to pry it out, or
all the time?
All the time. When it's new like that, it may not.
It's
might be able
pretty
to
easy.
Pop it right out.
Normally, if I know I'm doing an axle like the day before, I'll spray penetrating oil in there, let it soak.
Yeah.
Or I'll go to lunch and
let it soak in there, because that can be a real.
Oh, it's a pain.
Yeah.
And once you get this far, you just push in and give it a good tug.
Give it a good pop.
CV axles are a common replacement component, and manufacturers like TrakMotive offer new OE replacement and heavy-duty axles.
I always lube them up.
Lube it up.
Because after sitting in there and corrode and all the dirt and mud and water, just gets in there.
One of the other quick things, if this were a used unit, you would be looking at some of the seal and stuff.
Yeah, I would inspect all the
bearings
seals
as well on some of your upright and all that.
Basically, you just line up the splines, rock a little bit to get that clip in there. It just slides right in. Give her a couple yanks, make sure she's in.
Make sure it's in there solid.
And she's in. And we're just going to roll the hub back up. Drop our control arm back down. Now we got that tight, we're going to put our hub back on. We're going to take our two washers, make sure the bevel side's out. Put them in. Take our new nut. And then these ones on this particular model, torque spec for this is 80 foot-pounds. We're already lined up for the cotter pin.
Replacing a CV axle with a new assembly is the fastest and easiest way to get your customer back on their vehicle. And check to make sure the manufacturer offers a warranty. It will give them peace of mind the next time they hit the trail. Also keep in mind that OEM prices and parts availability for CV axles can vary dramatically from one manufacturer to the next. Aftermarket axles offer an economical replacement while providing a higher quality product at a fraction of the cost of an OEM. I'm Brendan Baker. Thanks for watching.